Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Shooting the with Yankee. As always, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Today, we're going to talk about Condition 3 carry. And for those of you that aren't aware, Condition 3 carry means you're carrying a semi-automatic gun, you've got your magazine fully loaded and inserted, but you're not chambering around until you need it. You're thinking, hey, there's no point in me carrying a round in the chamber because all that does is increase the chances of me having a negligent discharge, hurting myself or somebody else. I'll just wait till I actually need my gun, and I'm betting that I'll have time to rack it. I want to know what you think of that. Have you ever done it? Would you ever do it? And what's the advice you give to other people if they say they're going to do it? Do you say, never do that? Do you say, oh, that's okay, you carry how you want? Or do you say, it's fine that if you start off that way because you're uncomfortable with your gun, but eventually you should get to be comfortable enough that you don't do that anymore? Basically, just what's your thoughts on it? So I'm going to start us off as I usually do. I don't think I've ever carried Condition 3. I don't think I would, unless maybe I was some reason forced to carry a striker fired gun with a very light trigger, like a P320, then I'd maybe consider it because I'd be more afraid of hurting myself than not being able to have it ready to go when I needed it. But generally, I think it's okay. If it's something you need to do to feel comfortable carrying your gun, do it. I'm not going to tell anybody not to. In fact, I think it's kind of tacky-tardish to try. I would love you to become more familiar with your gun. Or switch to a platform that you are more comfortable with. Like you say, you just can't bring yourself to carry with a round in the chamber with a Glock. Well, then get yourself a revolver. Get yourself something else. Get yourself a Beretta, something double action, single action with a hammer. And then maybe you will feel comfortable enough to carry with one in the chamber. There used to be a lot of debate back in the day, like, oh, it's okay to carry one without one, carry without one in the chamber because it doesn't take any longer to rack that slide when you draw than it does to just draw. And I've always thought that was a dubious claim at best. But one thing you can't argue about is that if you're relying on racking that gun when you draw it, that really increases your chances of having an accident or a misfeed or a failure of some sort. So you're making it to where you're less likely to be ready to go in a split second that you might need it. But here's the thing. How often do you need your gun in a split second? Not very often, not very likely. And if someone tells me I just can't carry, if I carry one in the chamber, then I'll say carry Condition 3 then, because I would much rather every person in this country be one quick slide rack away from being able to defend themselves than I would find themselves in a bad situation and not be carrying. Because someone bullied them into the fact that if you can't carry one in the chamber, don't carry. No, carry. It's much better to have that gun with you. And like I said, being one slide rack away from being ready to go than it is to just not have a gun. So that's what I feel about Condition 3. Don't think I've ever done it. Don't think I ever will unless some very specific circumstances. If you've got to, great. But maybe if you feel like you got to carry that way, maybe it's just the type of gun you're carrying. So maybe think of something different. And always choose that over not carrying at all. So that's what I think. Now let's go over and see if anybody else agrees with me or disagrees with me over here. Edgar Cortez. Depends on the individual, but I carry my Glock 23 and SIG P232 with a full magazine and with a round in the chamber. Well, I think most people nowadays do carry with a round in the chamber. I don't think most people carry Condition 3. I think I'm sure there's some, but I don't think it's that common. I think most people are comfortable with their gun and the way it functions. I just go the other way. If I don't feel comfortable carrying a gun with a round chamber, I don't carry that gun. It's like why I don't carry a P320 or a Glock or anything striker fired, because I don't feel comfortable carrying around in those guns. I don't feel like there's enough protection between my stupidity and an ND, so I don't carry them. Johnny Mandrick said, perfectly acceptable. Stop with the I am going to have to outdraw somebody. Exactly. How often is that a probable thing? And here's the main thing. If someone's already got a beat on you and you go fast draw on them, if they're at all competent with their gun, what that equals is you being dead. A lot of this stuff, these there's a series of videos online that shows like what the instructors teach you, like grabbed your gun, spun it around, it's back in your face, and what reality teaches you, where the guy just smacks him in the face and shoots him. That's most theater. Most of that is just theater and wishful thinking and fantasy dreams. In most situations, you're going to know, oh my God, I'm in a really bad situation, draw my gun, rack it, and now I'm prepared. Not going to be a fast draw situation for most people. Now, maybe if you're working a certain job or something, maybe, but most people aren't going to face that situation in their life. When the very fact that most self-defenses with a firearm don't involve shooting, it means it wasn't a split-second decision. Dino Martini 59 said, thanks for giving us your expertise last night on pillow fucking, flannel or silk. Hey, it really don't matter to me. I don't care. You're going to put a hole in it anyway. Also, all hail Phil and Pets, who you're going to put a hole in if you do it right eventually. But that really didn't have anything to do with the topic, but I read it before I knew that. Johnny Mandrick says, not as effective as conditioned butterscotch, which is not as popular only because it doesn't cost $100 of training. Well, conditioned butterscotch, I should start a class on that. I should charge everybody $150 to come to a class. I'll do it online. It doesn't have to be in person. I don't want you people fucking coming here. And I don't want to meet you somewhere. So we'll have to do it online, but I should start doing that and charge. I think that's a money-making opportunity that I'm passing up. Ramon D1776 says, I always carry a ready for action in case of need. Yeah, each one of those guys always has a condom in his pocket, even though it's been there for 20 years, probably. That's that, got to be ready just in case, for that 1 in 1 billion chance. I'm going to have that condom in my wallet. It's like I was told, your friends, they used to have the ring on their wallet because of the condom being there. I was like, if a condom has been there that long in your wallet, well, then something's wrong. Heavy J, nice shirt. You chasing cougar tail later? No, I'm not chasing nothing. I went to town. I had to go town. So I said, I'm sick of going to town, but I have to mail shit and all this other stuff. And people are getting on my nerves, making me do things. So I wore one with fancy going to town shirts. This one I like, Scott. It's got Animal. He's probably my favorite. Well, him or Miss Piggy. I like him or Miss Piggy. Now, Sam the Eagle. I'm not as crazy about him. When I was a kid, I had my issues with him. And when I was a real little kid, Kermit scared the shit out of me. Only when he was dressed as a reporter, though. For some reason, when I was like 2 years old, if he was dressed as a reporter, none of that. I was smart enough to know, hey, frogs ain't supposed to wear trench coats. Anybody comes at you in a trench coat, especially if they're a frog, they're up to no good. Gummy Wuzzle says, is it okay? Yes. Is it wise? Only for Barney Fife. Nobody gets your old man references. You old geezer. No one knows who Barney Fife is. We're all young, hip, cool. Mike White, 2A Advocacy, said, when I carry out of state one Israeli carry, as I'm not allowed to carry in state, how does that make sense that I can carry out of state but not in state? I have no fucking clue what I just read. Does anybody else know what I just read? When I carry out of state, I Israeli carry, as I am not allowed to carry in the state. How does that make that I can carry out of state but not in state? What? Who? Sean Bain. I'm moving on because that one's making my head hurt. If you do, then train that way. Yes, I did have to when I was an armed guard. Did they make y'all carry without one in the chamber? I've heard that some companies that make you do that. You have to be ready to, if you're carrying a semi-auto, it's got to be in condition 3. I didn't know if that's true or not, but I've heard it from people, mostly on the internet forums, the interwebs. Maybe he can confirm that it's what he meant, that they required him to do that. Mr. Furley said, I don't see the use in it, but to each their own. I do see the use and I do see the reasoning. But like I say, I agree with the teach their own. Let them do what they want. But I think that it's probably a sign that you're not carrying the right gun. I think that's the most important thing about it. If you get anything from what I say tonight, if you're someone that feels you need to carry in condition 3, it's not because you're terrified of guns. It's not because, you just can't bring yourself to do it. It's probably because you're carrying the wrong gun and you can't be comfortable with that gun. Heavy J said, I carry a 6.42, so no need to rack a slide. Well, you don't have to worry about that in a revolver. I do tell people who carry that way or with the safety, every time you'll get over that, over time, you'll get over that mentally. Yeah, that's why I always tell people, carry your gun unloaded around your house all the time. How many times a day did you accidentally pull that trigger? That's about how many times you'll pull it when you're out with a loaded gun. If it's like, if I ask you, well, how many times did you accidentally pull the trigger on your gun in the last week when you've been wearing it around the house? And you're like, only 7. Well, then I'll be like, okay, well, then you keep doing condition 3 for a while. But usually it's going to be none. Tim Allen says, I would never carry that way, but if it is a way that other people feel comfortable with, then I see nothing wrong with it. I mean, I don't see anything, I don't want to say wrong with it. I just think it's an indicator of something. Do it if it makes you happy. I mean, if it tickles your taint, who am I to say? It's no skin off my dick how you carry your gun. But I do think it's an indicator of something else. Ghost Shadow says, Jerry Mixapitalik can load and fire faster than most could aim or draw. Does that make him a freak of nature? Oh, no, he's not human. He's an imp from the 5th dimension. Jerry Mixapitalik. I almost mentioned that in my video the other night when I was talking about letting trannies having trannies carry guns and people worrying about that. I'm like, they let Jerry Mixapitalik compete, or I was about letting trannies compete. I'm like, they let him compete. He's not even human. The only way you're going to beat him in a competition usually is you trick him into saying his name backwards and he disappears back into the 5th dimension for 30 days. That's fact. I mean, I'm not making that up. That's just reality. Evan James chimed in and said, as a striker fired guy here, that's why I like to carry my Taurus G3 most of the time. It has a safety, so I feel more confident keeping one in the chamber. You carry one in the chamber. You don't carry condition 3. Okay, because you have manual safety. But a lot of people, when they have people that I find most often that don't carry one in the chamber, don't have a manual safety. They're worried about firing their gun unintentionally. Felice Shanice, early 90s, moved from California to Arizona, not used to carry. Used condition 3 for 6 months till comfortable, then condition 1, thanks to Colonel Cooper. You little Colonel Cooper have a little thing or something? I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, it's a transition. It's a phase often for people. And I would rather them do what they're comfortable with and start their journey, their carry journey, than I would have them postpone or cancel their carry journey. You know what I mean? Gummy Wuzzle says, at first, I put a snap cap in the chamber until I was confident. I carried my shield in condition 1, but not much more comfortable with double action, single action of the PX. But I'm much more comfortable with double action, single action of the PX4 Storm. Well, yeah, well, you should be. It's a better platform. We got one more person here weighing in after Gummy Wuzzle. One more here. And it is Jacoby Cochran. And he said, hey, Yank, thank you and everyone else that helped. What was that about? Is that about the puppy? Was that what we were talking about, the puppy dog? Y'all covered the puppy dog yesterday. I am tonight, when we do the drawing for the knife, I'm going to do a drawing for the people who did donate to the puppy, and whoever wins will get a free t-shirt from my shop. So we're going to do that at the end of the night too. Even though I said if we don't have to do one today, we won't have to do a drawing. Since people went over and stepped up, and we're going to do a little drawing anyway. But that didn't have anything to do with the topic. But that looks like that's about it. So we got someone chimed in here. Aaron Talk ATF. Aaron Talks Firearms says Condition 3 works for the military. In some situations, yes, it does. Israeli military also does it. So yes, it seems to work for them. They generally know if they're going to use their guns, and if you're not going to know you need your gun so fast that you have to that racking it's going to take you out of the game, well then you probably never going to matter anyway. You're probably never going to draw your gun. You probably got shot in the head before you knew what was going on. But like I said, yeah, I don't think the whole you're going to have to fast draw. I don't think that's a valid argument against it. Also, I think you could make the argument that people that want to carry in Condition 3 are better at math because they know that the chances of them ever needing their gun in a split second situation and that making a difference is so infinitesimal that actually carrying a gun with around in the chamber, the tiny chance that they're going to hurt themselves or someone else accidentally is probably greater. If you did the average, there's probably a greater chance you'd hurt yourself or someone else accidentally carrying a loaded gun than there ever is that you would die because you walked around with a gun that you had to rack before you used it. I'd be willing to make that bet that that's the way the math would work out. So maybe they're just smarter than us. But as I said, do what you want to do what makes you feel comfortable. But if you do not feel comfortable enough with your gun to carry it loaded, then maybe consider another gun. How about you out there in YouTube land? What do you think? What do you feel about Condition 3 carry? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you ever want to weigh in on one of these conversations in person or come in and stick around till the after chat where we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, come to one of the live chats. We do them every night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you at one soon. Everyone else, thanks for participating. I hope to see you all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe. Until I see you again.